Welcome back to another virtual tasting with Binny's. I'm Pat from the Whiskey Hotline. I'm joined by Kat, who is the founder of 21 Seeds Tequila, which is a flavored line of tequilas. You know that the Whiskey Hotline normally does not dabble in the flavors of the world, but this is totally an exception. These things are awesome. So we're going to taste these, talk about these, make some cocktails today. If you got any questions at any time, just put in the Q&A function and we will get it answered. Kat is already getting compliments on how awesome her kitchen looks. So, Kat, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
It is so good to be here, Pat. I think we were both just saying it's been a long week. It's been a hot week. And I think we're both, even though I'm on the West Coast, so it's a little earlier for me, I think we're both ready to actually dive into these cocktails that we're going to make today.
Cool. Well, you want to give us a background on the brand first? I mean, we've had it for a little while, but how long has it been around? How did you get started making flavored tequila?
Yeah. So I think the first thing I just want to point out to everyone is these tequilas are actually infused Blanco tequilas. And I think I will take that compliment that you paid us earlier, right when we started, in that is the big difference. You know, that is really the thing. That's what you're tasting. I'm not a huge fan of traditionally flavored spirits either, because they tend to be overly sweet. They kind of have this weird aftertaste, like you're sucking on a nickel. And, you know, they kind of smell like Jolly Ranchers oftentimes, or candy. So, but really the story of 21 Seeds starts almost a decade ago. I was a wine drinker. I drank white wine and rosé happily every night, couple glasses a night. And then one day I started feeling kind of crappy. Couple of symptoms, some sweats, headaches, things like that. Went to my doctor and I was like, you know, listen, what's going on with me? And he wanted to look at what I was eating and drinking. I let him know I was finishing my night off with a couple glasses of wine. He's like, there's the culprit. He's like, I want you to move away from fermented spirits in total. So no more wine, beer, champagne, and move over to a distilled spirit. He's like, if you want to drink cleaner, drinking distilled is just cleaner by virtue of the fact that there's nothing living in it anymore, right? There's no organic living matter that you still find in fermented spirits like wine and beer and champagne. So I thought, okay, at least, you know, I don't have to get rid of the doctor. He didn't ask me to stop drinking altogether, which was not going to happen. So went home, stopped drinking wine, and within 3 days, I felt 100% better. So now it was sort of like, okay, he recommended I switch over to a Blanco tequila. And at the time, I was not like a big tequila drinker. I wasn't drinking tequila every night. The idea of drinking Blanco tequila every night instead of wine felt a little aggressive, to be honest. And so I thought, all right, what am I going to do to this Blanco to make it as easy to drink as a glass of wine? And I started infusing it. I love to cook. I thought I'll throw some stuff in it, see what happens. And by actually infusing it, it really completely changed the spirit in its entirety. Like, it still was tequila, but it was really smooth. It didn't have that sort of harsh bite that traditional tequilas have, right? Regular Blancos. So it got rid of the harsh bite. It made it super smooth. It imparted just a hint of flavor, but not, again, those overly sweet, sugary things that you find in some flavored spirits. And it made it really easy to use, you know. And one of the things that we're going to make today is a Spritz. And this one's a little more elevated because I wanted to do something fancy with you, Pat, because you're fancy. And this is Benny.
I am fancy. Nothing says fancy like a worn out polo shirt. Yeah.
Y'all are fancy in Chicago. We're laid back on the West Coast. So I needed to up my Spritz game a little bit, which I did. But the way I drink 21 Seeds every night is I actually drink the Valencia orange, this one right here, the Valencia club soda with a slice of fresh orange. Exactly. And that's what I drink every night. I drink literally a couple of those. And if you do 1 ounce of each of these, like any one of these, 1 ounce of the 1 ounce of the 21 Seeds, 2 to 3 ounces of club soda, that's 59 calories. So you're also half the calories of a glass of wine. So it's a win-win any way you skin the cat. So that's
tequila sodas have been huge. I mean, we've seen all these canned tequila sodas now, and it's when you can make one yourself and you're controlling the proportions, especially if you're trying to hit the calorie mark, it's a lot easier.
Absolutely. And this is how I entertain. I mean, before we turned it into a business, if you were at my house, I would put out infused tequilas, a bunch of different club sodas. And nowadays, like you pointed out, there's so many different kinds of club sodas, flavored ones. You know, there's ones with CBD in them. There's some with THC. There's like so many things going on there. You can find things for anyone. And I put all of that out with just a charcuterie board of garnishes and let people just mix and match and make their own drinks. And like you said, it's like, you could go out and buy RTDs, or you could just do this yourself, buy, the infused tequilas, buy a bunch of club sodas, and you're done. So the easeability, the usability, and you don't lose anything on flavor. It's delicious. And you get to use fresh lime, which I think is always key. And we'll get to that when we make our spicy margarita.
Okay, well, you want to start with the first one then?
Absolutely. So like I said, I want to start off spritz season. We're in spritz season, summer of spritzes. So whether it's a basic spritz, which you could do, we're going to make it with the grapefruit hibiscus SKU, which is this one right here. And look at, I'm already going to town with that. Mine's not as full as yours, Pat.
I cracked fresh bottles just for this. I didn't want any kind of oxidation to dampen the flavor tonight.
I love it. I love it. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of an elevated spritz. This is kind of our version of the Aperol spritz, which is a lot less calories. Take a nice smell of that. You smell that fresh grapefruit right away. So I got this gorgeous glass right here. We're gonna actually build it in the glass. So I'm gonna fill this up with some ice. There we go. Not all the way to the top, because I like to have a little bit of space at the, like so you can see some volume there. So put some ice in that, and we're gonna do 1.5 ounces of the grapefruit hibiscus SKU. So 1.5 ounces of this. So there's 1.5 ounces. There we go. 1.5 ounces of that goes in. That's the grapefruit hibiscus. To that, we're going to add 3 ounces of Prosecco. I poured it so I didn't have to do all the popping and all that stuff. So 3 ounces of Prosecco. So double that. That goes in. And look, it's already starting to get fizzy. Pretty. And then to that, we're going to finish that off with 1 ounce of club soda. And that's it, you guys. So 1 ounce of club soda goes in. Pour that in there. And I like to garnish this then with 2 half big chunky wedges of grapefruit, fresh grapefruit. And you can use herbs if you have that. Put those in there. Let those kind of sit there like that. And then you want to just give it a quick little stir to chill it. And this is our version of an Aperol spritz, right? Aperol has a lot of sugar in it. So if you want
a lot of sugar, that's what I was going to mention. I mean, this is a remarkable substitute for Aperol, and Aperol is grapefruity peel, orange peel, that kind of stuff, but it's a lot of sugar and it's pretty sticky. And this is still light on its feet, but it has that kind of rindy, very mild bitterness to it, but with a nice fleshy fruitiness too. Awesome.
And it smells like summer. It's spritz season. There's so many spritzes you can do. A really easy way to just change it up every night is, you get your 21 seeds, club soda, and then add a splash of pineapple juice or a splash of watermelon juice or a splash of grapefruit juice, at the bottom of your glass. And I like to build it like that. Like I like to put the juice in at the bottom, again, like 1 ounce of juice, very little, then 1.5 ounces of one of the SKUs of the 21 seeds tequila, and then top with club soda, garnish it with fruit. So much of what you taste is what you smell. So anytime, I always try to use fresh herbs or fresh fruit or something in the glass. So this is our first one. This is our version of the Aperol spritz, and it's delicious. Cheers, Pat.
Cheers. The fresh garnish thing is huge when you're building a cocktail at home, just because it adds so many layers of aromatics to any cocktail. Hey, Kat, Nicole wanted to know what brand of Prosecco you recommend, if you have one.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I'm open. Like I'm not partial to one brand of Prosecco versus the other. I think Prosecco is sweet. So Pat, you might know better than.
Yeah. A lot of the bigger brand Proseccos tend to be, I think, a bit on the sweeter side, and I'm not much of a sweet drinker like that. We have a house brand at Binny's called Facetta that is awesome, and it's a value. It's got kind of a pale lavender label. You can find it in any Binny's store, usually stacked up with things like Aperol and stuff, and it's usually around $10. So that's what I would go with personally.
Perfect. So do what Pat said. Maybe throw it in the chat.
There you go.
Maybe throw it into the chat too, so people can, if they're wanting to do spritzes for the weekend, they can pick it up for the weekend. So that's our first cocktail, super easy. And again, if you don't even want to deal with Prosecco, you can just do it with 21 seeds, club soda, and a splash of juice at the bottom. And then garnish it with all these beautiful garnishes. I love a charcuterie board of garnishes. So that's that one. All right, our next cocktail. I'm so excited about this because basically what we're doing is we're taking some summer favorites that are traditionally made with other, things that like Aperol, which again has so much sugar in it. This next drink that we're making, I like to take the flavors of the traditional drink and kind of do our version and take on them. And it's always a little lighter, a little better for you. So this next one, I'm so excited to share with you because I was not a Negroni drinker until I created this recipe. Now, this is like one of my go-tos for the summer, you guys. So I'm so excited to share this next drink with you, which is our Negroni, our version of a Negroni. So a traditional Negroni is equal parts gin, Campari, sweet vermouth. Mm-hmm. So with that, right, and Campari is just Campari. If you all don't know it, it looks like this, and they sell it at Binny's, so put it in your cart. And then sweet vermouth, there's a few brands out there. This is a pretty typical brand.
Yeah, Martini and Rossi, very popular brand.
Exactly. So now that is usually like, equal parts of an ounce, right? And I like to lighten things up, as you know, so ours is a little bit different. So we're gonna make ours. And to do that, you need a vessel. We're gonna chill it in the vessel and then pour it into a fresh glass with ice at the end. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of ice in here. This is gonna be my building vessel. I'm gonna do 2 ounces of the Valencia orange infused tequila. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 ounces. So instead of an ounce, we're gonna change it up a little bit, which will lighten it up a little bit. So 2 ounces of this go in. 1 and 2. Okay. Now, instead of doing 1, 1, 1, we did 2 there, and then we're going to do a 1/2 ounce of Campari, a 1/2 ounce of sweet vermouth, and then a 1/2 ounce of fresh orange juice. That's our little twist on the situation. So with that, I'm going to start with, doesn't matter what order you do this in. So we'll start with the sweet vermouth, and we'll do a 1/2 ounce of that. That goes in. Next up, a 1/2 ounce of the Campari, which we shall put in. This becomes such a gorgeous color, you guys. And if you want to batch the whole bottle, you can just multiply this entire recipe by 12, right? So there's 25 ounces in a bottle. So basically you're making 2 ounce pours. So if you put the whole bottle in, you just multiply everything else by 12 and you can create a big pitcher of Negronis, which I highly recommend for a weekend. And
way easier than making them one at a time.
Nobody wants to make these one at a time. I'm always looking for little tricks to not have to be the bartender at my own house. I imagine you have the same issue, Pat.
Oh yeah, yeah. Even with friends who have tended bar, it's still expecting me to make them a drink when they come over. It's the worst. I have terrible friends though, so.
Awful people. So 1/2 ounce of orange juice is the last bit, and see how that then starts to lighten it up. And you're gonna stir that around. You see this gorgeous color. This is a fun, very Instagram worthy cocktail, by the way. So
I was skeptical of this when you and I talked a month or so ago. I was really skeptical of this Negroni because I am a Negroni lover. I am a vermouth and Amaro fan for sure. Like they are some of my favorite things to drink. And I thought, no way, come on, like the infused tequila Negroni, but it works. And all these flavors work great. I was shocked. I made one at home the other night and it tasted through everything that we were going to do today. And it was really good.
Isn't it great?
So good.
It lightens it up a little bit. So now I'm going to put some fresh ice in a glass and I'm going to take an orange rind, which I've already cut, and you're going to kind of rub it around the inside of the glass, which is very typical garnish for Negronis. Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw that in there. And then basically, let me find something really quick. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and pour this in, but I want to hold the ice, prevent the ice from falling in. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in there. Oh, you guys.
Look at that cocktail.
Look at this cocktail. Cheers. This
Cheers.
is so, so good. Please try this. You are going to, and I want you to do exactly what Pat did. Go find a Negroni lover and say, try this. It's so, so good. Mm. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. All right, last but not least, we're a tequila company. So of course we need to make a margarita. And there you go. That's our last SKU, which is the cucumber jalapeno tequila. This is our bestseller. People are obsessed with this tequila. It's often sold out. So run to Binny's immediately and stock up. Now, if you're not a spice person, you can do this exact same recipe with the Valencia orange, right? And you don't have to use triple sec or Grand Marnier, which is the liqueur, which is the heavy sugar caloric part of the cocktail. Now, this right here, you guys, I'm going to show you how to make a 3-ingredient. This is one of the 3 ingredients. Perfect margarita every time. Okay. So with that, ooh, this is a new bottle. Ooh, I didn't even notice. That's always fun. And again, you can, if you don't want the spice, you can use the Valencia orange. And I encourage you to try it the way I'm making it. If it's not spicy enough for you, you can always add fresh jalapeno in the shaker and spice it up, but you can never take spice away. So
I'm a lover of spice, and this tequila has a very respectable spice to it. Like it's there, and it smells more just like the fresh cucumber, but then once it hits you, there's a serious spice on the finish of this thing.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people out there, including some surprise, like this is how Katie Couric drinks this SKU. She loves 21 Seeds. She's a huge fan and supporter of us. Oprah, we made the O list. We made Oprah's favorite, famous O list, Chicago resident, right? You all know her well. Yeah. We made the O list straight out the gate. She tried exactly this margarita, exactly this recipe we're making. And she not only is a tequila lover, but she also infuses her own tequila. That is how she likes to drink her tequila. And we were told by the magazine that when she tasted this recipe, she couldn't believe that we hadn't just infused tequila that week. She's like, I can't believe this is coming out of a bottle. So that happened on a Friday. And then we got the call on Monday and they're like, you're going to be on the O list. So that was a huge moment for us. I'm a huge Oprah fan, grew up watching her. So now let's make
Oprah Cocktail Insights. That's a first for the Binny's virtual tastings.
I'm so excited about that. Okay, so put some ice in your shaker. For this one, we're going to shake it. So we're going to do 2 ounces of the cucumber jalapeno tequila. So for that, I'm just going to do a 3-count pour. 1, 2, 3. That's roughly 2 ounces. You really can't put too much tequila in there, by the way.
That's true.
Right? All right. So to that, we're going to add our very fun 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice, and our cute little girls call the shot glasses. So we're going to put that in, 1/2 ounce of that, fresh lime juice, and a 1/2 ounce of simple syrup. Okay. That's it, you guys. 1/2 ounce is 1 tablespoon. Okay. So just so we put things into perspective, 1 tablespoon. I think not much. It's not much, but if you go down to Mexico, right, and you get these margaritas down there isn't a lot of stuff in them outside of the tequila. You really, when you're using good tequila, and again, we've infused it. So we've smoothed it out already tremendously. We've added the flavor from the fruit is in there. So you don't have to add a lot to this. And that is the beauty of how this thing just tastes so delicious, so simple, and low calorie. Like it just is, we weren't trying to back into it being low calorie. You just don't have to put the liqueur in there. You don't have to put the triple sec. You don't have to put any mix, none of that stuff. And it's perfect. The one thing you do have to do, I'm making you all do this, is you have to use fresh lime juice. You cannot use pre-squeezed store-bought lime juice. That's my one request.
Cook with your bottled lime juice, drink your actual limes. That's what you gotta do. Fresh squeezed lime juice makes all the difference in the world in a cocktail.
All the difference. All right. So now we're going to give it a shake. Shake, shake, shake. And you want to give it a good shake, like a 20-second shake, because
it's a long shake.
I know. But what it does is it blends it, mixes it together, it chills it. Like this should be cold. Chills it, and then it dilutes it a little bit. You want to add a little liquid in there. So that's what you're doing. All right, done there. Now I'm going to put some fresh ice in here. And the pour. I've tried to get really, like, I'm being fancy because it's Binny's in Chicago.
You're doing that like big Spanish cider pour almost.
Ooh. Have you seen the Salt Guy, by the way? I'm obsessed on Instagram where he does.
I've seen the Salt Guy. What year is it? Come on, of course we've seen the Salt Guy.
I know. I want to get the salt guy to like rim do something for us where it's like, whoosh.
You got to rim it with a little tahini. Have you ever had tahini on fruit? I love rimming spicy margaritas with that.
I have tahini. And you're absolutely right. I love it. I'm trying to find it. I normally have it right
It's
on.
too late to rim it anyway. You got to do that before.
But there it is, you guys. And this is perfect. And you do.
It really is.
This is the color, by the way, that your margarita should be. If you order a margarita in a restaurant, it comes out, it's like neon green. Just be like, oh no, stop right there. Take that back.
Yeah.
And bring me this.
That thing's closer to being a plastic than it is a drink at that point. One thing I would say, this is super easy to augment too. If you like it with a little more acidity and a little more lift, just add a little bit more lime juice, and you can always dial back the simple syrup too. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to margaritas, of course, and I usually stick to a 2-1-1 with 2 ounces of tequila, but then 1 ounce of something like a Cointreau, and then 1 ounce of lime juice. But I usually cut the Cointreau a bit in half anyway and use a little bit of agave nectar. So if you want it to be a little sweeter, just use something natural like a simple syrup or an agave nectar, and you're good.
Good to go. So easy. And it's the same every time. It's so good. And again, you can pre-batch this whole thing. And when I pre-batch the spicy margarita, I'll do a whole bottle of the cucumber jalapeno, 6 ounces fresh lime juice, 6 ounces simple syrup, put it in the fridge, and you got margarita. You got a pitcher for the whole weekend. You don't have to keep making them over and over again. So, and we're going into the summer season. We've got 4th of July coming up. Like, there's so many opportunities to just make these awesome cocktails. We have great recipes on our website. So 21seeds.com with, 21, and then what's on the bottle right there. And we put out loads of easy cocktail recipes, summer cocktail recipes. We've got a great version of Miami Vice. Do you know the Miami Vice cocktail, Pat?
No. What's the Miami Vice cocktail?
The Miami Vice cocktail is basically you mix a pina colada with a strawberry daiquiri. And so, of course, as you might imagine, like we modify it. So we have it on our website. I think it's on the website now. If not, we just posted it.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. And it's a lot less caloric, our version of it, but my God, it's so delicious. It is so, so good. You basically like blend up some frozen strawberries with some Valencia orange tequila. And then, it's a little bit of coconut milk or coconut cream, like banana, pineapple juice, blend that all together with ice. And then you pour the frozen strawberry mixture in first and then top it with the coconut mixture. So good. It's lunch.
Nice. Probably got a cool layer too.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, the great thing about these, again, the infusion versus flavor, I think is a point worth making again, and so much flavored stuff tastes so fake or so sweet. And, these have a natural flavor to them and they make cocktails so easy. I couldn't believe the spicy margarita. It's great. It's a great cocktail and it's so easy. I mean, the spicy margarita, the ultimate cocktail of our time now. You can't go anywhere without seeing a spicy margarita.
That's right. That's right. And now you're going to look like a real pro with all your friends. You can show off.
True.
All you guys can show off with all your friends.
Hey, the pitcher's in the fridge, all right? I'm not making cocktails for everybody.
Like it's hard. Like it's hard to make that. It's not hard.
Well, Kat, thanks a lot. Really appreciate your time tonight. I'm personally going to go and have a spicy margarita, I think, because that is my jam on a hot day like this. If anybody has any questions, feel free to hit us up at spiritsatbinnies.com or comment on the Facebook page. We'll get back to you. Kat, again, I appreciate your time tonight. It's always a pleasure. So cheers, everybody. Enjoy some awesome infused tequilas this weekend.
Summer. Yeah, go to Binny's and load up for the summer. Cheers.
Cheers. See you next time.
Bye.